Let's be clear from the start. This story was never just about security. It was about control. It was about punishment. And now, thanks to one very inconvenient risk assessment, it's about exposure. Because the moment news broke that Prince Harry's Home Office risk assessment may finally confirm what everyone with a functioning brain already knows, that Harry, Meghan and their children require police protection in the UK, the palace narrative began to crack, loudly. Whether that leak came from Team Sussex or somewhere else, it was a smart move. Strategic. Because once the assessment lands on Ravek's desk, it becomes much harder for decisions to be made quietly, vindictively, or without scrutiny. And that's the real panic. Here's how it works. The Home Office conducts the risk assessment. That assessment is then sent to Ravek. Ravek technically has the power to follow it or ignore it. But now, everyone is watching. This isn't secrecy anymore. This is a public test of integrity. And suddenly, the idea that Harry could come and go from the UK safely, like any other high-risk individual, has sent shockwaves through royal reporting. Enter Tom Sykes, freshly recovered from the flu and apparently deep into palace fever dreams, with his latest headline: Prince Harry's security, Win will sicken William. Just sit with that sentence for a moment, because that headline accidentally tells us everything. It admits that William and the royal courts have influence over who gets protection and who doesn't. It admits that Harry's safety has never been a neutral decision. And it admits that the future king is emotionally invested in his brother being vulnerable. That's not strength. That's not leadership. That's not even normal sibling rivalry. That's obsession. We're also told that charities were shuttered and restructured. Which is it? Because the answer, obviously, is neither scandal nor collapse. It's rebranding, something organizations do all the time. Yet somehow this gets twisted into a fantasy that Harry is slinking back to the UK with his tail between his legs. Funny how that exact phrase keeps popping up, almost like it was copied and pasted from a palace-approved talking point. Here's the part they don't want you to connect. William and Charles didn't just remove Harry's security, they used it. It was part of a broader plan: exile, humiliation, scapegoating. And eventually they hoped a broken Harry returning home in disgrace. That was the fever dream. 6 years later, it has failed spectacularly. Harry didn't crumble. Meghan didn't disappear. Their children are thriving. And instead of crawling back, Harry built a life, financially independent, emotionally healthier, and far away from the toxicity. So now what's left? Bitterness. Because the idea of Harry returning to the UK safely, without fear, without vulnerability, destroys the last remaining leverage. Let's talk optics, because this is where it gets, truly indefensible. We're supposed to believe that William is concerned about Andrew's mental health, but is sickened by the thought of his brother and his brother's children being protected. Read that again. Concern for Andrew, disgust for Harry's safety, indifference to his niece and nephew. That is a catastrophic look. This is the same man who lost his mother because she was hounded by the press while lacking proper security. And yet, according to this reporting, he's revolted by the idea that history won't repeat itself. That's not tragic. That's chilling. Then comes the tired claim. Things in America haven't gone the way Harry and Meghan planned. Planned what exactly? They've said, repeatedly, they didn't have some grand master plan, only the desire to be financially independent and mentally safe. Mission accomplished. They live in California. Their children are growing up out of a pressure cooker. Meghan escaped a system that drove her to suicidal ideation. Why would she ever return? The truth is simpler and honestly a bit more embarrassing. Royal reporting is boring without them. William and Kate barely work. William has openly said he plans to do even less as king. So what exactly? Is Harry stealing attention from absence? Here's the part that should embarrass the UK government. A high-profile war veteran, son and grandson of a monarch, with documented threats against him and his family, has had his security weaponized against him for years. Not because of risk, but because of resentment. That alone proves why the monarchy should have zero influence over security decisions of anyone. This isn't complicated. William hates his brother, and the system bent to validate that hatred. But here's the twist. Harry did the work. He got healthy, he got out, and the contrast is now impossible to ignore. So yes, let's call it what it is. The removal of security was punishment. The outrage now is exposure. And the real sickness isn't Harry being protected. It's a future king who can't stand the thought that his brother survived. So my absolute take in a nutshell about this is that when you ignore the noise from the UK, it's clear Harry and Meghan are doing great. They arrived in the United States 6 years ago with a baby and no plan. They have a home, supportive network, multiple income streams, multiple charity partners, plus their own organisation, and are clearly in love and happy. All while having an entire media ecosystem and 1,000 monarchy gunning for them. It's actually amazing what they've accomplished. Them saying over and over again that the Sussexes' businesses are faltering just makes me even more determined to support them however, wherever, whenever, and with whatever I can. Period. And on that note, squaddies, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. If the truth made you uncomfortable, good. That's how you know it mattered. Thank you so much for watching. Stay sharp, stay questioning, and I'll see you in the next one.